On the news tonight, Governor Burewori affirms his administration's commitment to maintaining harmonious relationship between teachers and the state government. State governor approves payment of scholarship to children of deceased civil servants in the state. Federal government begins preparation to evacuate Nigerians in Lebanon. Abroad, more Israeli airstrikes hits Beirut. Good evening. Welcome to Delta TV Main News Tonight. My name is Francis Ufulwe. As the world marks Teachers' Day today, Governor Sheriff Burewori has expressed his administration's commitment to maintaining the harmonious relationship between teachers and the state government by discharging government's obligations to them and other workers. Governor Burewori said this during the celebration in Delta State held at the Cenotaph, Asaba. This year's observance had as its theme, valuing teachers' voices towards a social contract for education. Pere Botu now reports.
The governor, represented by his deputy, Sir Monday Oyeme, said the state government was pleased with the cordial and harmonious relationship between the Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT, and other labor unions in the state. He said the World Teachers' Day offered the opportunity to reflect on the noble profession and its valuable role in nation building, noting that the most influential person in anyone's life was the teacher. Governor Burewori noted that for any country to be great, attention must be paid to education and learning, adding that teachers are critical key factors in the process of the development of any human resources. While attributing the growth of any individual or society to the training of teachers, the governor affirmed that teachers have the responsibility of impacting knowledge, instill the right values and skills to enable pupils and students contribute to their communities and the larger society. He urged teachers to use this year's celebration to focus on the issue of excellence in teaching and learning, stressing that teachers and educationists must constantly upgrade their knowledge and teaching skills and adapt to changing situations. Governor Burewori promised to look into the issue of university graduates in primary schools not going beyond grade level 14, as well as pending arrears and the employment of more teachers for secondary schools, among others.
I want to say at this time, university of issues as enumerated by various leaders before me, and well taken, and these issues will be taken back to the Executive Council under the guidance of the Council for adequate attention. I want to state, particularly, the issue of primary school teachers who are university graduates, being stopped at grade level 14.
The national president of the NUT, Comrade Audu Amba, represented by Comrade Ike Orobo, called on the 13 states yet to implement the Teachers Act, which provided for the retirement of teachers on the attainment of 65 years or 40 years of service. The state chairman of the NUT, Comrade Titus Okotie, pledged the readiness of the union to work closely with the government in transforming the education sector. He appealed to the state government to look into the issue of the stagnation of university graduate teachers in the primary education sector and the provision of instructional materials to enhance teaching, among other demands.
This year's theme has greatly emphasized the need, the very essence of valuing teachers' voices towards a new social contract for education. Since no meaningful goal can be achieved in the education system without involving teachers, who are the drivers of our educational policies.
In their remarks, the chairman of the Post-Primary Education Board, PPEB, Dr. Emmanuel Tidi, and his State Universal Basic Education, superb counterpart, Honorable Samuel Marere, lauded teachers for their valuable roles in teaching and learning and assured them of government's continued support, even as it shows that the state government had approved the payment of arrears for primary school teachers. In a lecture Professor Emmanuel Ufofo Biri, rector of the Delta State Polytechnic Otefe Ogara, highlighted some challenges facing the sector to include poor infrastructure and remuneration, lack of local and international training and conferences, and called on the government at all levels to give teachers their pride of place in the society. In an interview, the chairman of the State House of Assembly Committee on Education, Honorable Charles Emetulu, said the state government was doing its best in the development of the education sector, adding that teachers played vital roles in shaping the future of society.
It's important that we recognize that without these persons, there will be no advancement, and maybe even at the global level, at the national level, continental level, teachers should find a way to fight their cause in such a way that the entire world takes notice of what they are.
Also speaking, the state chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), Comrade Goodluck Ofobruku, called on the government to pay attention to the welfare of teachers, including provision of a conducive environment, payment of arrears, and lifting of stagnation, even as he commended the state government for its efforts in the education sector.
And when teachers are poorly paid, that is the highest demotivational factor in the educational sector.
The event featured a march past by members of the NUT from the 25 local government areas of the state, as well as cultural dances. I am Pere Botu reporting.
The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, has reiterated the federal government's commitment to improving the welfare of teachers in the country. The minister said it was time for teachers to begin to reap their benefits directly alongside the services they render, against the notion that their rewards come later. Speaking through the Minister of State for Education, Dr. Yusuf Surunu, during the conference organized by the College of Education Academy Staff Union, COESU, as part of activities to celebrate the 2024 International Teachers' Day, Professor Mamman said his ministry's current policy was to actualize government's vision for the teaching profession. The Executive Secretary, National Commission for Colleges of Education, NCCE, Professor Paulinus Okwile, emphasized the need to continue to elevate the status of teaching profession, ensuring that it attracts the brightest and most passionate individuals. The event, which also witnessed presentation of awards to the best students in colleges of education in Nigeria, had the theme, Valuing Teachers' Voices Towards Repositioning Teacher Education in Nigeria. Professor Mamman said, in addition to the COESU awards, government will also provide scholarships to the students. He directed that information of benefiting students be submitted to the Federal Scholarship Board and urged people to view teaching as a profession, not just an activity. He commended the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and COESU for cooperating with the government to reposition the nation's tertiary education. Governor Burowori has approved the payment of the 2023 scholarship to children of the Z civil servants and students living with disabilities in the state. The scholarship scheme for children of the Z civil servants is designed to cater for children of Delta State civil servants who died while in active service. The scholarship scheme for physically challenged students is part of the government's efforts at assisting physically challenged persons who, in spite of their disabilities, have taken up the challenge to acquire relevant education that will make them less vulnerable in society. The two scholarship schemes run through primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. A statement signed by the Executive Secretary of the Delta State Bursary and Scholarship Board, Dr. Godfrey Anita, says a total of 628 children of the Z civil servants, drawn from over 200 families and 60 students living with disabilities, will benefit from the 2023 phase of the scheme. The State Governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, has said his administration will continue to ensure the even development of all parts of the state, including riverine communities. Governor Oborewori made the affirmation while inaugurating the Model Secondary School, Ogulaga, in Burutu local government area, as well as the faculty building and lecture halls at the Nigerian Maritime University, Okerenkoko, Warri Southwest Council area. Ejimel Dreme reports.
Governor Oborewori commended the prevailing peace in the riverine communities, which he pointed out had paved way for development in the areas. He assured the people that his administration will continue to work for the progress and development of the state. The governor lauded the efforts of the Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, the SOPADEC, towards the successful completion of the school, which he said was proof that the commission was fulfilling its mandate of improving the infrastructure and economic fortunes of the oil-producing communities. He said as part of his administration's vision of meaningful development, the Executive Council had approved the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the 12.1 kilometers Odimodi, Okuntu, Ogulaha Road at a total cost of 5.2 billion naira, adding that the contractor was expected to mobilize to site in the shortest possible time. At Okeren-Koko, Governor Boriwori described the Nigerian Maritime University as a specialized institution established to produce graduates with unique skills, knowledge, and capacity to revolutionize Nigeria's vast maritime sector. He said the lecture hall being inaugurated was a good example of what could happen when there was cooperation between the federal and state governments. Governor Boriwori, who gave immediate approval for the construction of a road to the university's permanent site, said riverine communities were very dear to his administration. Hence, he had created the Directorate of Riverine Infrastructural Development.
It has the strong potentials for urbanization while providing employment and retail business opportunities in the host communities and environment. Goes without saying that this building is conducive for learning to take place. It has all the facilities to make learning exciting and fulfilling.
The chairman of the DESOPADEC, Olorogo John Nani, said the completion and inauguration of the project was a clear demonstration of the fact that the commission was fast-tracking development in oil-bearing communities.
But the governor, who knows full well that the oil-producing community must have a feel of what any other community in the world should benefit by way of education, make sure that this project is being today commissioned.
The member representing Burutu Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Honorable Julius Pondi, thanked the governor for demonstrating that riverine communities could be developed like their upland counterparts.
Yesterday, there's no doubt that you have the people of the riverine at heart, particularly Ogulaha Kingdom. We can only support you and assure you that we are your people. Whenever we are needed, we will respond.
Immediate past Deputy Governor of the state, Deacon Kingsley Otuaro, traced the establishment and development of the Maritime University to the Niger Delta agitation and commended the Delta State government for its several interventions in the university. In a similar vein, the Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Emmanuel Adigo, thanked the governor for lending a helping hand in the institution through the construction of a faculty complex. The head of the Department of Housing in the Directorate of Works and Infrastructure at the SOPADEC, Mr. William Uyimi, said the project comprised 2 blocks of 12 classrooms, a 1-story male and female hostel, a school administrative block, a dining hall, a science laboratory, a perimeter fence with a gatehouse, and concrete driveways and walkways connecting the dining hall to the hostel. Other facilities include a concrete car park, an assembly ground, office and science equipment, demarcation of male and female hostels, and the installation of a water supply line from the Shared Petroleum Development Company to the model school premises. Ejime Uduime reporting.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has directed implementation of a sweeping overhaul of Nigeria's road safety measures to reduce accidents in the country. Senator Shettima, who stated this during a meeting with leadership of the Federal Road Safety Corps held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, stressed the need for the Corps to address increasing road accidents on the highways. He also stressed the need for the Corps to address its challenges and drastically reduce road traffic accidents across the nation caused by non-adherence to traffic regulations. Senator Shettima also emphasized the need for deliberate efforts to address road challenges in line with international best practices as seen in other countries. The Vice President, who chairs the National Road Safety Advisory Council highlighted the importance of leveraging technology and enforcing discipline to improve road safety. He emphasized the interconnected nature of road safety with broader security concerns. Earlier, the FRSC Co-Marshal, Mr. Shehu Mohammed, said the National Road Safety Advisory Council was a critical aspect of the updated Nigeria Road Safety Strategy 2021 to 2030. He outlined the Council's primary functions to include setting national road safety targets, coordinating efforts between federal, state, and local governments, and overseeing the implementation of strategic initiatives. The membership of the Council comprised 6 governors representing the 6 geopolitical zones, ministers, the National Security Advisor, and the President of the Association of Local Government of Nigeria. The federal government has said it has begun preparations to evacuate Nigerians in Lebanon back to the country. The spokesperson, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Eche Abuobe, disclosed this in Abuja in view of the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. The spokesperson said it had become pertinent to mention that no Nigerian life had so far been lost since the beginning of the conflict. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mr. Ola Olukayode, has challenged religious leaders in Nigeria to be more committed to the fight against corruption by preaching the right messages. This was contained in a statement by the Commission spokesman, Mr. Dele Oyewale, in Abuja, when he received the delegation of leaders of the Citizens Church of All Nations at EFCC's corporate headquarters. The chairman, who spoke through his chief of staff, commander of the EFCC, Mr. Michael Nzekwe, he expressed concern that people in churches were living above their means and that the church knew them, and also cautioned religious leaders against perpetration of fraud under the cover of religion or divine grace. Pastor Dixon Irobo, who spoke on behalf of the delegation, explained that the visit was motivated by the need to identify with the Commission and appreciate its anti-corruption efforts. The Akwa Ibom State Governor, Mr. Umo Eno, has appointed his daughter, Mrs. Helen Obareke, as the acting First Lady of the state, following the death of his wife, Pastor Patience. The announcement was made during a condolence visit by Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and other dignitaries in Uyo. Governor Eno, in an emotional tribute, described his late wife as the greatest supporter and toughest critic, recalling their lifelong bond. The governor introduced his daughter, Mrs. Obareke, to take on the duties of the First Lady, ensuring continuity of the office and the projects initiated by his late wife, particularly the Golden Initiative for All Giver. He expressed his confidence in his daughter's ability to uphold the values and vision of her late mother, affirming his commitment to sustaining the projects initiated through the First Lady's office. During the visit, Senator Tinubu praised Governor Eno's decision, calling it a thoughtful way to preserve the late Pastor Patience's legacy. She noted that the appointment mirrors practices seen in other parts of the world, such as the United States, and expressed confidence in Helen Obareke's ability to excel in the role. In her remarks, Senator Tinubu offered words of encouragement to Mrs. Helen. Governor Eno also addressed rumors about him taking a second wife, humorously dismissing the idea during a separate visit by Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Still to come, more Israeli airstrikes hit Beirut. Stay with us. This is Delta TV Main News at 8. The global scene is next as we join our World News Desk.
More Israeli airstrike hit Beirut today after the Israeli military warned people in the southern suburb to evacuate. Israel and Hezbollah report more fighting in southern Lebanon as Israel's ground offensive continues. Hezbollah fires dozens of rockets into northern Israel. The group says an air base near Haifa was among targets. According to the Israeli Defense Force, 2 senior Hamas figures have been killed in northern Lebanon. Flash floods and landslides in central Bosnia-Herzegovina have left at least 16 people dead, with towns and villages cut off, and reports in some places of homes being almost submerged. Some of the worst scenes were in the area around Jablanica, a town on the main route between the cities of Mostar and the capital Sarajevo, about 70 kilometers or 40 miles to the northeast. A number of the other people have been reported missing and a state of emergency has been declared. Development Minister Vojimir Jaktovic said the country had witnessed a terrible disaster and appealed for calm. Officials from the Herzegovina Nereva cartoon said 13 deaths have been confirmed in the area rather than 16 as earlier reported. In the town of Fujnika, 3 other deaths were confirmed. Search and rescue works continued, with 10 people still unaccounted for in Herzegovina Nerevta cartoon. Rivers burst into bank after an overnight storm, and area photos showed many towns and villages left inundated. Roads, bridges, and railway tracks were washed away or blocked by debris, while landslides left houses buried in rocks and earth as high as their upper stories.
Let's join our business news desk for happenings in the business world.
The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, has noted that while the most vulnerable people are paying multiple taxes, the middle class, upper class, and the politicians are evading tax. Mr. Oyedele said this on Thursday, the first day of the Integrated National Financing Framework (INFF) core working group retreat held at the Continental Hotel Victoria Island, Lagos. The INFF is the framework for financing national sustainable development priorities and sustainable development goals (SDGs) at the country's level. The task committee chairman said revenue percentage is embarrassingly low because the country mostly collects taxes from the vulnerable people and allow the upper middle class, the elite, and the politicians to evade tax. Mr. Taiwo said that the vulnerable are the most taxed in Nigeria, and there's no way Nigeria could get adequate revenue by taxing our most vulnerable citizens. Director General of the Cross River Lottery and Gambling Agency, Mr. Michael Eja, has revealed that approximately 60 million Nigerians engage in gambling daily. Eja made this known during the launch of a new sports betting platform, WoskiBet, in Abuja yesterday. He noted that the gambling industry in Nigeria was a booming value between 500 billion naira and 600 billion naira. Mr. Eja noted that despite the country's rapid growth, 90% of the potential market remains on tap. He said that Lagos State alone generated $243 million in revenue last year. He highlighted the benefits of gambling industry, including its contributions to wealth redistribution, job creation, and revenue for the government.
And now, sports. Super Eagles interim coach Austin Eguavoen has said that Nigeria's path to the 2026 FIFA World Cup could hinge on a solid defensive approach and mental strength. Despite the team's struggles in the qualifiers so far, Mr. Eguavoen remains optimistic that Nigeria can turn things around by focusing on winning every remaining match. Currently sitting 5th in Group C with 3 points from 4 games, the Super Eagles are yet to secure a victory in their World Cup qualifying campaign. He said with Rwanda, South Africa and Benin Republic tied at the top with 7 points each, Nigeria faces a huge battle to climb the standings. Mr. Eguavoen has stressed that the Super Eagles must fight tooth and nail and treat every game as a must-win, no matter the opposition. According to the coach, And it's not just about playing well, but about being mentally tough to grind out results. Following the conclusion of the 2025 African qualifiers, Nigeria will resume 2026 World Cup qualifying against Rwanda in March 2025, a game that is now vital for their World Cup aspiration. Lagos will host the 2024 West Africa Deaf Football Competition, held between October 12 and 18 at the Bobolaji Johnson Arena in Onikan and the National Stadium in Surulere, respectively. President of the West Africa Deaf Sports Union, Ibrahim Amuda, listed Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Guinea, Niger Republic, Togo, and host country Nigeria as the 8 nations that will be competing for honors at the 12th edition of the tournament. According to him, the tournament, which is unique to all the participating teams, will also be used to prepare the Nigerian national team for the African Deaf Football Championship held in next month, November, Morocco. The statement, collaborated by the president of Nigeria Deaf Sports Federation, Alhaji Saka Suleiman Dabo, has commended the Ministry of Sports Development for their support, as deaf sports are no longer regarded as optional sports in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the vice president of Nigeria Deaf Sports Federation, Comrade Ige Jenye, also said that athletics event is also included in the championship to encourage other deaf athletes who are not into football. He also added that the inclusion will help them prepare adequately for the 2026 African Deaf Athletes Championship to be staged in Nigeria. And now, our thought for the day. Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful than one with all the facts. And on that note, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. But before we go, a quick look on our major stories. As the world marks Teachers' Day today, Governor Sheriff Oboriwori has expressed his administration's commitment to maintaining the harmonious relationship between teachers and the state government by discharging government obligations to them and other workers. Governor Oboriwori stated this during the celebration in Delta State held at the Cenotaph, Asaba. Governor Sheriff Oboriwori has approved the payment of the 2023 scholarship to children of deceased civil servants and students living with disabilities in the state. The scholarship scheme for children of deceased civil servants is designed to cater for children of Delta State civil servants who died while in active service. The federal government has said it has begun preparations to evacuate Nigerians in Lebanon back to Nigeria. The spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Echa Bobe, disclosed this in Abuja in view of the Hezbollah-Israel conflict. And abroad, more Israeli airstrikes hit Beirut today after the Israeli military warned people in southern suburb to evacuate. And that's the size of our bulletin tonight. Many thanks for being part of it. I am Francis Ofulwe. Have a lovely evening. Good night.